What's happening, Fresh Baked? Today is the day after, as it were, from the Guardians of the Galaxy taking over Tower of Terror. It's the aftermath. And, when I posted the video last night, my emails and, the comments and stuff like that in the video started to blow up. And, I mentioned, I didn't stop getting, I still haven't stopped getting emails, actually. There's just so many. And, well, I tried to read them all. I've read about, I'd guess maybe 500 comments since last night, which is a lot. I don't know, I mean, if that number means anything to anybody, but the first thing I want to mention is that I feel kind of bad. Well, that maybe more than a little bad. My intro, the dance and all that stuff, I wasn't trying to dance on anybody's grave. I was just excited that, I took a lot of heat, a lot of grief. People yelled at me and said pretty mean things to me about the original video that we did on the topic. Almost to the point where they were making it seem like it was my fault. Like I'm the one who made this decision to convert Tower of Terror to Guardians of the Galaxy. They were yelling at me and saying mean things and saying it was lies, and I was perpetrating lies, and that I was causing everybody mass amounts of anxiety. And well, of course I'm not, I'm just reporting what I heard. So when the announcement came true, it's like, oh yes, thank you for following, that I can be vindicated like that. So that's all that was. But I feel bad because I know people really like Tower of Terror, and for good reason. I liked it too. I don't know if Guardians will be better, but I mean, I did like Tower of Terror. I liked it a lot, and I didn't want it to go. But I'm okay with it leaving. There's a lot of things that I'm okay with at Disneyland because I try to see the really big picture most of the time, and not just from like a homer's perspective. Although I am a Disneyland homer, I can still react subjectively or objectively. I mean, not subjectively. So there's that. So if anybody felt like I was dancing on their grave a little bit, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. That was not my intention at all. I was just excited that that we got it right. We got it right. Now, a lot of people had mentioned in the comments that, obviously Disney does not own Twilight Zone. They don't own the rights to it. They don't own any of it. They're owned by CBS. So they have to purchase the right to use that name. And a lot of people mentioned, well, hey, their contract ran out, and that's why if a contract runs out, then you no longer have a Twilight Zone theme, and that's a good point. But really, the more important point is, did Disney want to renew? What if? Because there's a new Twilight Zone movie coming out, or a new series, I think, on television, or something like that. They're doing more stuff with Twilight Zone coming up. What if Twilight Zone tried to price Disney out? What if Twilight Zone didn't want to renew with Disney? Because that's a distinct possibility. It's possible that Twilight Zone didn't want to have a secondary marketing plan for Twilight Zone. They wanted to move forward on their own track, and that makes sense to me. So let's consider that for a second. Maybe let's not rush to judgment or rush to blame Disney for not renewing, or for they just want to get rid of Twilight Zone so they can put in a Marvel property in there. And that may be true, and maybe they do want to put a Marvel property in there. Maybe they wouldn't have wanted to renew with Twilight Zone, but we don't know that for sure. And then it was also mentioned, okay, so let's say we do lose Twilight Zone. Let's say Twilight Zone didn't want to be with Disney. Well, we could still have a Tower of Terror without Twilight Zone in it. And he's right. The Twilight Zone part of this is not the most important part of it. It was the overall theme of the building, the old haunted, hotel, the old haunted tower, the Hollywood Tower. You can still have the Hollywood Hotel. You can still call it Tower of Terror. And you can still have the same theming and everything. You just take out the specific Twilight Zone references. You take out Rod Serling and you put in something else. You maybe tweak it just a little bit. Who knows? You could do that, and that is a very good point. However, it misses the larger point, and the larger point is they don't want a Hollywood land anymore. Okay, we've got to get over this idea that Twilight Zone and Hollywood and the backlot are all of this sort of uncrackable theme that you cannot break this. You can't break this thing. Well, I tell you what, you can break it by dropping Marvel on top of everything. Okay, they want a Marvel land, and so if you're going to build a Marvel land around the hotel, around the tower, then how are you supposed to put, you know, an old decrepit Hollywood as part of that theme? Of course, you have to make it something that's Marvel. Why wouldn't you do that? So it isn't so much that, you know, people have said, I'd be fine. Why can't they just build another Guardians of the Galaxy attraction? Why can't they just put something else somewhere else and keep the Tower of Terror? Well, they could have done that, and they will do that. They are going to put in other attractions. But once you do that, once you start growing a Marvel land, then you can no longer, you know, keep the Hollywood Tower theme. Now it's the tower that is no longer themed appropriately, and that's something that I mentioned in the original video. And that's part of what is baffling me about this project. Is it's hard to undo things like the Hyperion Theater and the red car trolley. How do you undo the red car trolley? If you can't have a trolley, or can you? I don't know. I guess you could have a trolley go through a Marvel land. I guess. I don't know, because, well, who knows? Who knows? I don't know. But anyway, it's not just one. You have to think bigger. It's not just one attraction. It's an overall theme. It's big picture. And that kind of goes towards another point, is that, you know, about thinking small, thinking about just about the Tower of Terror. There are a lot of individually good components of Hollywoodland and the back lot and, Hollywood Boulevard. There are a lot of individually good components, but the whole area, the back lot and Hollywoodland and Hollywood Boulevard as a whole, as a themed land, is a total mess. It's a total mess. Everything else at DCA, you walk through there and you feel like there's a continuity to it. You know, Paradise Pier, Grizzly Peak, even Bugs Land or Cars Land. You know, these are all areas that have continuity. Hollywoodland does not have any continuity, and part of that is because they could never fully realize it. They couldn't commit to it, and because the idea of a fake backlot isn't any good. And that's something else that I've talked about in another video before too. The concept of making a land out of a Hollywood backlot just it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Just look at Universal Studios. So I think that one of the most important things to remember is that for the most of us, we couldn't possibly comprehend the complexities of running a multi-billion-dollar industry, of running a theme park that people from all over the world want to come visit. And it's a layered experience. It's more than just an individual attraction. There's so much to consider. How could we possibly understand how, all the decision making that goes into this? This is why, for the most part, I try not to second guess Disney's decisions, because I wouldn't know what to do. I'm not trained. I haven't studied, any of this. I'm not experienced in this. I'm just driving all over. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't go to school to learn how to run a theme park. I'm not saying that everybody has to in order to do that, but who are we to say that Disney doesn't know what they're doing or they're making bad decisions? I'm not saying that all their decisions are correct or they're not wrong, and some of them are baffling. I get that, but it's hard. That's a hard job. That's a hard thing to do, to run a theme park. That's a really hard job. Because some of those decisions are so permanent. It's like made out of stone. These things, you can't, there's no flexibility. You can't just, remarket something easily when it comes to a theme park, especially if you want to do it right. Disneyland, is so good because they haven't had to change it for so many years, because they got it right to begin with. Any change after that is subject to scrutiny and second guessing. There's no way to predict how correct your decision is going to be. And you got to know that they expected a backlash for Tower of Terror, which tells me that they didn't have much of a choice. Okay, that's what's intriguing to me, is that because the rumor got floated, they had months of people yelling at them or screaming on the internet and on social media about what a terrible idea this was and how their things were going to boycott, and they still pulled the trigger. What does that tell you? To me, that says we have to do this. We're committed. There is no plan B. It's not like It's not like they can say, you know what, maybe we'll just make, Hollywoodland work out. Maybe we'll just tweak it here and there. But that's what they've been doing. They've been trying that, and it's not working. They need a continuous theme that works in that land, and the backlot is not working. So now here's something interesting. When I suggested that the Marvel land is going to be going in the backlot as opposed to behind the Tower of Terror, because a lot of people are saying it doesn't make any sense. And I've said this myself. Putting Marvel Land on top of the backlot doesn't make any sense when you've got the Hyperion Theater bisecting, the two sides of the land. I agree with that. However, I'm reporting that because that's what I'm hearing, okay? It has nothing to do with my personal preference or what I think will work or won't work or what they should do, okay? This is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that's what's happening. That the backlot is going by way of Marvel Land. So I don't know if it's right or wrong. That's what I'm hearing. Now it does make more sense to me to put it behind the Tower of Terror, to put it in that parking lot or whatever that they've got some space for. That does make some sense, but that's not what I'm hearing. Okay, you guys? And that also means that yes. Oh, now, by the way, that brings up a point that I want to make. Let's look at the physical evidence to suggest that this is true. And this part is my opinion. If you tell me that Marvel's going in the backlot, I'm going to say, you know what, you could be right, because what? The Marvel backlot is full of, it's got 2 empty buildings and a third one that they haven't committed anything to permanently. That's since Muppet Vision. Since Muppet Vision was taken down, they put the Frozen stuff in there, and now it's just a movie preview center. That's not a permanent thing, okay? That's not a solid thing. They're just biding their time. They're filling. It's filler. Is what it is. Whatever they do in the backlot right now is just filler until what? Until they get to that big picture, the overall big prize of the Marvel land. Okay, they're just biding their time. So, why put something in stage 17 or where the arcade was? Why put anything in there that's permanent in any way if you know that you're going to dissolve it in a couple years so that you can build Marvel Land? This is why I believe that it is going in the backlot, because they've got plans for that, and that means Monsters Inc. That means the Mike and Sully to the Rescue is probably going to get demoed, because it's the Up House, okay? It's the house and Up. They're building all these skyscrapers around it, but then you've got this little house, and I'm like, dude, get out of my way. Get out of my way. And that's what the backlot is. That's what Monsters Inc. is the Up House. It's got to go. It has to. Otherwise, it just ruins everything. Okay, so I'm sorry. Maybe they'll move it somewhere else. I doubt it, because it's not the actual ride that is taking place there. It was the layout. It was just dropped on top of the limo tour or whatever they used to call that. I forgot. I don't know. Anyway, so I have a feeling that Monsters Inc. is doomed. And then they're not gonna replace it. They're not gonna put anything, in it. They're going to demo stage 17. They're going to demo the Arundel Theater or whatever the heck that thing is. They're gonna demo Monsters Inc. and they're gonna demo the arcade. They're gonna demo all of that and then expand it, like we talked about, with the maybe possible extra space with the bus lines. Now here's a fun one. Some said, you know what? Why don't they just buy or pay whatever it is that Twilight Zone, or what CBS is asking for the Twilight Zone? Why don't they just pay it? Why don't they just buy Twilight Zone? They got the money. They're the biggest company in the world, right? Or one of them, I don't know for sure. And that's true. They could afford it. But being a multi-billion-dollar company doesn't mean that you can just go around spending money willy-nilly, wherever you see fit, okay? It doesn't mean you can say yes to everything. You get that way. You get to be a billion-dollar company by making good business decisions, by watching your bottom line, by saying no when you need to say no. And that's my assumption, is that the Twilight Zone bill was too much to pay, especially when they want to do a Marvel thing anyway. Okay, they want a Marvel Land, right? So you can't expect Disney just to throw money around just because they have it. That's not how you run a big company, especially one that is public and who has stockholders to answer to. Anyway, I think that's about all I got, you guys. The bottom line is this: we cannot possibly understand or know all of the intricacies of this decision. I don't believe it's anywhere near as simple as, Disney just deciding they want to have a Guardians property, on DCA, or that they're trying to go for the cash grab or anything like that. I in no way do I think it's that simple. And further, I feel like we need to give them at least a little chance, a little credit for being able to come up with something that we might also enjoy. As I said in the other video, Tower of Terror is a great attraction. It's greatly themed. It's fun. It's enjoyable for everyone. It's a little scary. I mean, it's got it all. Everything you'd want. This ride can have that too. So there's nothing to say that it can only exist for Tower of Terror. There's plenty of room for good attractions out there of all different kinds. And the fact is, I mean, it's actually going to be the same ride as Tower of Terror, just with a different skin on it. That's all, really. And that's the question that a lot of us, or a lot of people who are scared about this, or about this change, or who are angry about the change, is what is it that you like about Tower of Terror? Did you like the ride, or did you like the haunted hotel theme? And I mean, if you say there's nothing wrong with saying the haunted hotel theme. That's what you like. Really, that's what I like too. I like the themes of my favorite attractions. It's the theme that I like, not necessarily the attraction itself. I don't really go into the actual ride per se. I mean, Casey Jr. blows my mind every time I ride it. But so I get that some people who don't like Guardians of the Galaxy may not like the skin that's put on Tower of Terror. I get that. If it was the ride you liked, the mechanics of it, the drop mentality of it, you're still going to get that and more probably. So let's try to give, if we can, maybe just take a minute, take a breath, and give Disney a chance to impress us and to show us that they care about that attraction, that they care about us, and that they're going to deliver a profound experience, not just in Guardians of the Galaxy Operation Breakout, which, by the way, is kind of a terrible name for an attraction, but oh, by the way, yeah, the Ninja's here. Hey, say hi, Ninja. I just picked him up. Nicely done. The name of the attraction, Guardians of the Galaxy Operation Breakout, sounds like something they wrote down on a napkin when they were discussing ideas for what to do with Tower of Terror.
Or a movie about a teenager.
Or yeah, about acne. Anyway, let's give them a chance, you guys. I think, look, we've seen what they can do when they really invest all of their sources, all of their monies, and all of their brains, like in Shanghai. That's a beautiful park. It's a beautiful park. It's too bad that all the, well, anyway, I don't want to get into what's going on in Shanghai right now, but there is a possibility that they can do this right. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so I'm out. That's all I got. I'll talk to you guys next time. Hopefully it's not on the road, but at a park. And there's the Ninja again. He's trying to video bomb you guys. That's all. That's. You got anything to add, Ninja?
Nope.
I'm sorry?
Nope.
Was that a nope?
Yeah.
Okay. Roger that. Nope. Bye, Fresh Baked. We've got lots more videos for you to see, so grab a churro and check out our Star Wars Land updates from the Knothole Gang, or maybe our Secrets in History videos. Or you can just watch all of our weekly trip reports and have your mind blown by how much fun we're having. We truly are the best of Disney Baked Fresh Daily. And don't forget, you can support Fresh Baked by joining our Patreon campaign or by buying a Fresh Baked t-shirt. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Fresh Baked!